Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting. Oh, I've never said that as I was sitting down on the couch before. I'm usually sat in and ready to go. Did you have your hand up here on the couch?
Yeah.
Welcome to Blockbusting. That wonderful, the dulcet tones you hear on the other end there are my guest, Andy Roffe.
Roffe?
Yeah. I knew I should have asked beforehand. The only time I ever get people's names wrong on this podcast is white people's names.
Yes.
Andy Roffe.
I'm 97% Ashkenazi Jewish. I don't know how white that is.
That's in America. That's white.
Okay.
You've been adopted.
Okay, good.
Andrew, do you care?
Doesn't matter.
We're going Andy then.
Sure.
I like it. I'm Jay Light, and you probably knew that already if you're listening to this podcast because we're real far in at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming up. We're getting close to 200 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me, man. I've been a fan for a while, and I love your concept. I think so many podcasts are just white guys talking about inside comedy that no one understands. But I think the blockbusting movies that are that incite intense emotion in people is a really great idea.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's how I felt when I came up with the idea.
No, it's really good, and I love the name. Blockbusting is a great name.
Finally, it's so hard these days to come up with a podcast that isn't just white guys talking about comedy. It bums me out.
I feel like eventually this will just turn into that at some point. Just you and me. No, it won't. Do you have a... Okay.
I'm gonna make because the beauty of the show is there's always going to be movies.
That's true.
Movies are never going to stop coming out.
I just meant this particular episode.
Oh, no, we're fine. We're good on that. We might as well jump right in because you picked this one. I don't often get movies that people talk about on the show where it like strikes a chord with me, like a particular note of like, how dare you not like this movie?
Yeah.
And that's what you've done today.
Oh, good. Yeah, I get that with a lot of people.
Yeah, and today you chose American Psycho.
100% hate that movie.
A movie that I heard you say has no redeeming value whatsoever.
That's correct.
Man.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
What do you got against American Psycho? Baseline, what's your thesis?
My thesis of American Psycho is that this is a movie that what it was supposed to do was sort of explore the themes of capitalism in the 80s and consumerism and vanity and such. But what it does to me as those douchey New York Wall Street guys, kids who want to aspire to that. Let's take Donald Trump Jr., okay?
Okay.
He, to me, is Patrick Bateman.
Yeah.
Like, Donald Trump Jr. would watch this movie and be like, that's a fucking great movie. I want to be him. And that's the thing is, like, you know, I grew up in Chicago, but like I knew all of these just like, you know, New York Jews. I'm a Chicago Jew, so we're a little bit more modest, but who just like revere Patrick Bateman as like their hero.
Right.
They want to be like him. And so I think all the messages that it tries to discuss in a satirical way, I think it's just it's backfired and people look at him as this hero. And I just think it's just a gross movie with no redeeming value.
Oh, man. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, as a fan of this movie, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I 100% get where you're coming from. Because it has sort of shades in terms of the way that you have seen people interpret this movie.
100%. That's really my big gripe with it. It's like... it's really well shot. The acting is really, really excellent. But it just, I'm blank. What's his name who stars in it?
Christian Bale?
Christian Bale. I was going to say Christian Slater. Oh, my God.
This movie would be very different if Christian Slater was in the lead.
Yeah, no. Christian Bale's performance. So I watched it a bunch of years ago, and I hated it. I might have been high when I watched it.
I've watched. I think I watched this movie high for the first time.
Yeah,
and it's a real. I mean, this movie's kind of a head fuck as it is.
It is for sure.
But when you get to the part where it's like where the ATM's telling him to feed it a stray cat.
Yeah,
I was like, what have I stepped into? What is this movie now?
Yeah, no, for sure. And then last night I watched it very, very sober, and his performance is fantastic, especially his monologues about music. Great, fantastic. Right. And so I don't want to say I hated it last, but I was like, this is a really fantastic performance. But also I just wanted to point out, because I wanted to come prepared today, the ending is so ambiguous. And at first I was like, what am I missing? I do this thing and my friends who watch movies with me hate it, where I hate to be surprised. So
watching movies must be excruciating for you then if you hate being surprised.
No, because I don't. I would say 8 out of every 10 movies I watch, I will have read the Wikipedia plot before I've seen the movie.
Okay.
So I'm almost never surprised.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
which, I mean, I've started doing that going into movies now. Especially for this podcast in particular. There's still when I go see movies in theaters, I'll let the experience kind of hit me. But for this, I feel like you have a better chance of understanding and what's going on and being able to really analyze and watch the movie when you know what's going to happen. Otherwise,
for sure,
it becomes a much more different and emotional experience watching that movie.
Yeah, the thing is, I knew it was going to happen. I'd seen this movie before. It just, I don't know. First of all, so I'm watching the movie yesterday, and I'm enjoying it more than I thought. And then the scene comes with the homeless guy and his dog. And that's where I can't even watch nice things with dogs. I am an emotionally stunted human being. I can't handle it. No, I won't. I won't watch like Air Bud. Can't see it. Nothing with dogs, especially.
No Air Bud. No way. A Dog's Purpose. No How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Oh dear God, no. Never would see A Dog's Purpose. I can't even watch the previews. My roommate will do this thing where he will play Netflix previews or whatever of dog movies. Just I'll have to and I have.
What about All Dogs Go to Heaven?
No way.
What about Homeward Bound?
Nope.
Oh my God. Beethoven?
Okay, am I watching it with my dog, or I'm on my way? No, I'm serious. So
fair.
When he does the thing with the dog, I just can't feel that.
Right.
So that's where it gets me. But I just want to say with the ending, I was reading Mary Herron, an interview she had done. I think she'd done on Charlie Rose a couple years after the fact that American Psycho came out in 2000, and she was unhappy with the way the ending came out. She didn't want it to be as ambiguous as it was. In fact, what she said was that he absolutely is a serial killer. And my take, and it's not an original take, but what I sort of agreed is that he killed everybody except for Paul Allen, played by Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the only guy he didn't kill. And I think he fantasized about killing him because he sort of wanted everything that he had.
Right.
But
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I buy that.
Yeah.
Well, this movie's a really interesting movie in general. It's not 2000. This is Mary Herron based on Bret Easton Ellis novel.
And also, I hate that guy so much.
He's a piece of work from what I can gather.
I take hate back. I immensely dislike. This is just a unhappy, self-hating gay man.
Yeah.
Who, beyond American Psycho, when he had talked about how gay Broadway actors aren't believable as as a straight lead in a Broadway show or whatever. I just and I understand what he was trying to say, but it's like, who's like, just for a gay man to be saying things like, it's just so counterproductive to the equality movement.
It's being a gay edgelord.
An edgelord?
Yeah.
What's that?
Edgelord, somebody who's edgy just for the sake of edginess.
Oh, I think it's one of my character defects.
Being an edgelord?
I think so.
It's funny that you say you think you're an edgelord, but you hate this movie. This is like this is one of the most easily misinterpreted movies.
Tell me what I'm missing.
Well, here's what I think. I think you're missing the forest for the trees a little bit.
Okay.
Because you're looking at the reaction that people are having to this movie and using that as the way to avoid looking at the movie itself. What I was going to say earlier was that this movie sort of hits the notes that later on, a decade and change later, Wolf of Wall Street hits.
Yeah.
Where obviously those are both very different movies.
Yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street is about excess and depravity and loss of morality in a very different way than American Psycho is. And I think that those are because, American Psycho is based on a novel that's written a decade earlier in the 90s, which is a very different time than all of the stuff that's going on with Jordan Belfort, which is told through the lens of somebody in like the late 2000s in this weird time of like, oh, we're gonna showcase how bright and shiny and fun it is, like it's a fucking Vegas day club, like it's Electric Daisy Carnival,
sure,
as opposed to like pre 9/11, where we're gonna go real dark, we're gonna have a lot of murder, and it's gonna be played for laughs. Like you can get away with that at this time. But it feels cold and mechanical, and that enhances the satire in a way that the things being bright and of excess in that's not. I didn't ask for you, Alexa. Shut up. Sorry.
I want to know what she had to say. As the only female in the room, there's a lot of misogyny in this movie.
There is a lot of misogyny.
We should ask her what she thinks.
Well, that's the thing. Is like, I think. I agree with, because I also think that there's nothing. This movie is a movie that has the characters have no redeeming value in a way that if you are somebody out there who's looking at Patrick Bateman and you aspire to be like that guy, then obviously you're in the wrong.
Yeah.
Like I can't argue with you on that. I don't have any reason to. I don't idolize Patrick Bateman. I don't want to be this man. Which is why it struck me for you to say there is no redeeming value in this movie. I think the redeeming value in it is that the satire goes so deep, and that it's a very sharply made satire. That it shows, oh yeah, these people are all bad people. Some of them are like below just a level of like you don't like them morally. It's like complete moral repugnance what these people are doing. But I can also see why it would be hard for somebody to get past the fandom and not tie that in with the movie.
The prequel for this movie is the scene in Joker where he shoots those Wall Street guys on the train.
Yeah,
right?
I just saw Joker last night. And I was like, oh,
for
this
the first
is
time?
Yeah.
You really?
Yeah.
Wow, I figured you would have seen that like a week or two ago.
I mean, it's only been in theaters a week.
I know, but
yeah, no, I waited. I wanted to make sure that nobody was actually going to go in and shoot
seriously.
at theaters.
I was doing shows in Texas, and I was with my buddy, and I was just like, this isn't the right state to see this movie in.
We're gonna hold off.
Yeah, I'm not going to see this in Dallas.
Well, I don't think there's a lot of incels in Texas.
No,
I mean all the incels in Dallas are driving to El Paso anyway. To go find a Walmart.
That's true.
But the thing is, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Because Joker is another movie that's like, all right, somebody, and it's done in a different kind of way. It's a comic book movie, so it's pitched up in a different way because it's not a satire. But it's still showing like, yeah, these are bad dudes. and so we're going to show off how bad they are by having them harass a woman on a subway. And then we're going to have Joker shoot them and murder them very, very brutally.
A movie to me that I think really explores capitalism and elitism in a really fantastic satirical way would be like Caddyshack.
I've actually never seen Caddyshack.
What?
Yeah. Well, because I grew up very sheltered, so Caddyshack is one of the many 80s comedies that I missed completely.
My God. I was nervous to come onto this podcast because you're very, very bright, and I feel like you've seen every single movie, and I was like, all right, you got to go, like, see, like, something that he, would want to discuss, like, because, like...
Oh, I got some blind spots, dude.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody has seen, like, less important movies than I have. Like, you named 10 really important movies I have not seen. Have
you seen? Well, I mean, I've probably not seen some of those either, though. What I've missed the boat on so many of the big, like Saving Private Ryan. I've never seen.
I just saw it a couple years ago for the first time.
And Jaws, I've never seen. If we're in the Spielberg lane,
I saw part of Jaws, and I've had a severe phobia of open water since I've been like 6 years old. Mm-hmm. In fact, just last summer, I jumped into the lake for the first time in like 20 years. Yeah. I'm terrified.
But I mean, you were even talking about this a little bit before the podcast.
Yeah.
Which is your taste in movies is also very much not.
No, it's
this
weird.
Kind of a movie.
No, I watch documentaries and comedies and like mockumentaries. Like the Christopher Guest world is like to me the pinnacle of cinema making.
I mean, I do love me some Best in Show.
Love it.
Best
Amazing.
in Show's an all time.
And
comedy.
I mean, I think just. With a slight edge is probably Waiting for Guffman for me, but they're so close.
Yeah.
I mean, like, those are two movies I quote on a semi-daily basis. Even when nobody's around, just to myself. I don't know. I mean, I came in with a lot of heat and energy that this movie has no redeeming value. And it's not that I'm ready for American Psycho, and it's not ready that I'm willing to walk that back. I totally understood what they were trying to do.
Right.
It just didn't work for me.
Fair enough.
But also the point that I am influenced by the way people interpret this movie, 100% true.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I'll give you a very short anecdote.
Please, I love an anecdote.
It's going to be short, though, because we don't have a lot of time. So I was at a Thanksgiving a few years ago here in LA for some friends of mine, and they had like a family friend come. This 23-year-old working in finance, really, wealthy, elite New York Jewish kid. And he just, one of those guys I knew from the right away, I just was not going to vibe with this guy. And we're talking about movies and stuff. And, of course, American Psycho, his favorite movie.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, that's an interesting pick for a favorite movie.
It's absolute favorite movie. It's hilarious. And you ever know how, like, people who talk about, like, their favorite movie, it's hilarious. They have, like, this, like, weird laugh about it. It's not, like, a genuine laugh. It's just like, haha, yeah, it's my favorite. Like, it's, I don't know if I'm doing a very good example, but it's just...
no, I get that. Because it's like, oh, man, I love that one.
Yeah.
I can't ever. That's how I feel about, it's not my absolute favorite, but my favorite that would be in that vein.
Yeah.
Spring Breakers.
Nah, I tried watching it. I did a movie with Riff Raff once.
Really?
He smelled great, but I couldn't talk to him.
He doesn't look like he would smell great.
No, I know, right? He had like a very, very nice scented cologne, and he brought his dog on set with him. And
Ruff.
Is that his dog's name?
I don't know.
Oh, that's
I'm just
good,
making
though.
a joke.
That's so funny. And I was just worried the whole time that this dog was going to run away. It was this little puppy, like golden retriever or something. It was so long ago. The movie was called 420 from like Mary to Jane, and I think it ran out of funding in the middle of shooting.
That sounds like a Riff Raff involved project.
Yeah, it was.
I buy that.
Yeah, it had Riff Raff. It had Vern Troyer, Ari Spears.
What?
Yeah. Who?
What is this movie?
I don't think it ever came out. but on my IMDb it just says Couch Stoner #3 or something like that. Yeah, that was I made like absolutely no money on that movie. I don't honestly know if it'll ever come out. But so this guy, American Psycho is his absolute favorite movie. I think the point with that laugh was it was almost like a condescending, like, if you don't think this is funny, you just don't get it in the kind of way. And we sit down and he talks about how he'll never shop at IKEA because the founder of IKEA is an anti-Semite. And I looked at him and I said, let me guess, you drive a Mercedes. And he goes, I do. How'd you know?
Wow.
I just knew the type.
Wow.
So that's the type of guy who watches American Psycho to me.
I bet you that guy's second favorite movie is Fight Club.
Absolutely. I've never seen that movie. Watching
Fight Club and completely missing the irony of Fight Club. Because so this is actually quite poignant given that Bret Easton Ellis we're talking about gay authors.
Yeah.
So Chuck Palahniuk is a gay man also, and he wrote Fight Club. And Fight Club is also supposed to be a satire, but it's got the same problem that American Psycho does, where the fans of Fight Club completely miss what Fight Club is actually trying to say about masculinity and homoeroticism and all of the stuff that sort of gets wrapped up in the actual, like, oh, we're cool guys who fight in a parking garage. They miss all of that.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh yeah, I want to kill people and make soap. I want to make bombs. I want to have bitch tits and all that stuff. You know, Bret Easton Ellis, or not Bret Easton Ellis. Sorry, Chuck Palahniuk. I think has been much more vocal about in terms of like people interpreting it wrong than Bret Easton Ellis, who's just sort of trying to play. It sounds like he's just trying to play, edgelord, devil's advocate kind of shit. I think that is kind of disingenuous because it's to the point of the guy sort of laughing condescendingly. It's not that you don't get what the movie's trying to do.
Yeah.
You're fully aware of what the movie's trying to do.
For sure.
You just think that it's bad for the movie to do that.
Yeah, I just think the payoff just didn't hit, and I think what it has done more is empowered douchebags. I was trying to think of a better word.
I mean, we got a ton of douchebag, asshole, jerk off.
Exactly.
Shit for brains. That 100%. One's hyphenated.
Yeah, that's okay. It's good, but I think it's just sort of empowered guys like that who just would, sit around and, their guy, Manhattan, who's got a wife and kids, but is like, fucking his secretary, a bunch of women on the side, and he's just sitting around with his buddies, drinking old expensive scotch or whatever they do, and just, I don't know, being mean.
Yeah. Well, the thing that any movie or television show that is about the obscenely rich and people who use money as power, and I'm going to lump a bunch of stuff into this, even though they're all totally different. They fit this genre. Movies like a couple we've already talked about: Wolf of Wall Street, American Psycho, Succession.
I need to see that show.
Succession is a very good show.
I need to see it. I know,
and it's obviously there's no like darkness on the level of like we're going to be murdering a bunch of people with an axe and wearing a poncho and talking about Huey Lewis in the news.
I should also say, like, anybody who knows me knows that my absolute favorite genre of music is 80s pop music.
Yeah.
Huey Lewis, I've seen in concert. I was dying to see Phil Collins. I didn't get to go. I'm trying to think, like, all
Devo?
Nah, they're like a little too weird.
Okay. I was just about to say that might be a little bit too weird.
No, but
for
I
you.
actually, one of the best concerts I ever went to was, and I went with my dad a couple years ago in Chicago. We saw Peter Gabriel and Sting.
Whoa.
It was so good.
Oh, what a combo. So 80s.
It was so good. Yeah.
But all those sort of all that sort of genre of like we're gonna watch a lot of rich people do horrible rich people things.
Yeah.
Is that there's a certain subset of people who are going to watch that and get the message that is supposed to be gotten from it, which is this is bad behavior, and they'll see the mirror held up to these people that obviously you're the people who are watching the show, or not the people who are watching the show, the characters in that television show or movie are blind to, because they're written in a way that's going to be like we're trying to show off to the audience all of the terrible traits of these people.
But don't you think our society has an intelligence problem?
And that's my next point.
Look, I'm not the brightest bulb, but like, I think that for the people who get it, and it's a small percentage, they get it, but for most of society, again, I hate to go back to our president because I don't even want to talk about him, but it's just like what poor people think like that's what a rich person looks like, right? Or poor people think like, what's the saying?
Poor man's idea of a rich person.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. And I just think like that's what they see that movie and they think that's what it is. Right. I will say like I will defend this movie here for just a moment, where it's like the idea of your exterior, outside things, materialism, how like that cannot make someone happy. Is I think, it definitely is how the movie ends. Patrick Bateman is just a really unhappy, tortured soul, and like as perfect as he is on the outside, like his insides are just totally rotten. Like there's something that I can totally understand. Right. It is a great message there.
But people who are fans of this movie, or not fans of the movie, but fans of Patrick Bateman, and that's their takeaway, they're not going to notice any of that. No. They're not going to be able to accept and appreciate that level of nuance. They're just going to be like, oh, he looks cool in a suit and he fucks. Cool.
Right, like in the beginning of the movie when he's really rude to his secretary, like I would just imagine someone being like, if I was rich and looked like that, they could talk to somebody that way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. They talk to their secretary like that. Yeah. They're powerful. They're good looking and wealthy. Like, that makes sense to me.
Have you ever seen the movie Shame? I would imagine you might not have. It kind of flew under the radar. Shame is a movie that came out, I think, 2013, maybe 2012. Steve McQueen directed it. Same guy who did 12 Years a Slave. This is right before 12 Years a Slave. He made Shame with Michael Fassbender and Carey Mulligan. Wow. Michael Fassbender is a sex addict in the movie, and it's NC-17. It's like a fucking hardcore movie. And
they show penetration?
No, but there's a lot of sex. Like there's enough sex, and there's a lot of Michael Fassbender's dick.
Really?
Yeah.
His actual dick?
Yeah. I don't think it's not unsimulated sex or anything. There's no full penetration. Yeah. But it's enough that they were like, yeah, we can't have this much male dick on screen.
Wow. So before 12 Years a Slave, Michael Fassbender was doing porn? Mm-hmm. That's unbelievable.
Pretty much.
They say you can't come back from that, but I guess you can.
Mike, you can if you're Michael fucking Fassbender.
Does he have a big dick?
It's probably a grower.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
But Shame, there's a section in Shame where I can imagine, because the whole movie, he's a sex addict. Mm-hmm. And the movie is designed in sort of a way where it's not satirical in the way American Psycho is. But you see somebody having a lot of sex and kind of showing the brokenness in a way that American Psycho shows Patrick Bateman's brokenness. There's a scene where not Steve McQueen's character, sorry, Michael Fassbender's character is trying to court his secretary. And they hit it off and they go to a hotel room. And he's treating her very differently than he treats the other women in this movie, because he's having sex with a lot of like prostitutes, and it's transactional for him. Right. And the minute he tries to get into an actual, like, not even a loving relationship, but even just an emotional sexual encounter, he can't get hard. And he sends her away and she leaves, and then he immediately hires a hooker and he has sex with the hooker.
Wow.
But that's the thing is like the people who watch American Psycho and are like, oh, fucking Patrick Bateman, dude, I love that guy. I'm gonna do rails with my business card.
Exactly.
They're probably gonna watch Shame if they ever watch Shame, and they're gonna be like, oh, this guy fucks.
Yeah.
Cool, sweet. And they're gonna miss the parts where he's sad.
Yeah.
And they're gonna miss the parts where he's succumbing to his addiction in ways that are extremely uncomfortable.
Their review of that movie was, yo, dude, that guy fucks, and then he becomes such a pussy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But that's what American Psycho is too. American Psycho, I can see why you can't get past the fan base, because it's a problem with the way people look at wealth.
Yeah.
It's like they see that and they're like, it would be cool, because I can't deny, when I watch Succession, I see that these people have beautiful apartments and crazy houses. I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to have some of that.
This is a beautiful apartment right here, Jay.
Thank you, but that's the thing. It's like, this is fine. I'm happy with this. But that's the same in American Psycho. I
You
watched
have
it like,
two UGG gloves.
I do have two UGG gloves, and they're
I
not even the
have one.
knockoff ones.
No, I have one. It's the best.
But I remember what American Psycho, beautiful apartment, got a lot of records, very modern lines, and now I see that I'm like, oh yeah, I've got some of that going on, and I don't have to murder anybody to get to it.
Yeah. It's still it's really crazy, but I meet so many people when I'm like, if I'm doing shows across the country, even back in like Chicago, where there is this notion, and it's not even, I don't know if I want to call it ignorance or whatever, but it's just they really believe that material things will make you happy.
Right.
And I think the majority of people really believe that, even if they say they don't. They really believe if they had the better partner, the better car, the better job, the fitter body, the better this, that like life would be so much better for them. And you know what I always share, and I don't even like say this sarcastically or with like any type of malice, is like how many more good-looking rich celebrities will kill themselves with drugs or alcohol or suicide before you're like, oh yeah, that must really not matter all that much, or it must be. It it must just be so quick,
right,
that it doesn't register. But I totally understand that people are always looking to an outside factor. I mean, it's just like, this is a little off topic, but like, how many comedians will smoke a joint, drink a beer, do whatever to get in the calm their stage fright or their nerves, or get into the right mindset to go on stage.
Right.
Where it's like, I've just, only because I can't do that stuff, is I chose a method of like to try and meditate and like center myself and quiet my crazy brain before I go on stage. But I can totally understand why like people, like, they want the fast food. They want the instant gratification of like, boom, what pill or what this will like get me to where I want to go.
You want the quick fix?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can't seek that all the time.
No. I wish they would have gone in the movie in more of like his backstory of like how he got to be where he is. I mean, they say his dad ran the company or started the company.
I think so.
Yeah. But like, he went to Harvard, did all these things. Like, he does work. I mean, he, at least for his body, I mean, he does work really hard. I mean, he did put in the work, I guess you could say.
Well, that's why Christian Bale, he's one of these transformative actor type of guys anyway. And this is very early on showing that off.
Yeah.
So good on you, Christian Bale. You put in a hell of a performance.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of performance that it's a star-making turn. And I'm not sure what Christian Bale's film career was like before American Psycho came out, but the level of work he's put in after the fact has just been stellar.
What movie was he in as like a teenager that was really big?
Newsies?
Yeah.
I think it was big after the fact. I think it was panned at the time.
No. I was saying like what movie before he was like a big, like as a teenager he was in like a big.
What the movie was big? Yeah, Newsies.
Right?
Newsies.
Yeah.
The old Disney musical.
Of course, yeah. A buddy of mine was in Newsies.
Yeah,
with Christian Bale. Yeah.
Ooh, what a time.
How are we doing on time? We good?
Oh, we're good.
We're good.
We can wrap it on up, or you can tell another story if you want.
I'll tell a quick.
If you got another quick anecdote.
I've got a quick anecdote. My mom actually works in New York. She's a Broadway musical producer and does theater. And a couple of years ago, American Psycho, the musical, was happening.
I remember that being out.
Yeah, and she was like asked to come on and produce it, and she passed on it. And the guy who starred in it was, I think his name is Ben Walker, who is a really, really brilliant performer. And the music was done by what was that guy's name? Duncan Sheik. Remember that guy, that musician, Duncan Sheik?
Yeah, he made
Barely Breathing, that song.
And Spring Awakening.
Yeah. He does a lot of Broadway shows now. And that came out, and my mom had asked me like what I thought of like the project, and I like listened to some of the music, I think, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a total like Broadway aficionado, but it's just asking like what I thought. I wasn't like all that into it, and she ended up not doing it. I know that the project didn't do all that well, just because like a Broadway goer wouldn't want to see like that movie. I think is just such a specific audience of straight white male who aspires to be something more than they're not. And then there's a smaller division who can understand the hidden meanings behind that, which I would put you into, Jay. You get the much more intelligent. You see beyond what American Psycho is, or as far as how most people see it. But
right. Well, that's I aspire to do that. I aspire to watch things with a clear eye.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm very glad that you brought this movie on to the show today.
Well,
it was one that I heard. Like I said, you brought it up, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Because I gave you a couple other options. There was a movie I really wanted to defend, and you were like, "No,
yeah,
come do American Psycho."
Right, but I'm glad you did it.
Well, man, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having this opinion. I appreciate it.
And thanks for having me.
Where can the listeners find you if they want to follow you?
I'm assuming they don't, but if they do, or if you want to send hate mail, Twitter and Instagram, ASAP Roffe.
Nice.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
That, you know what? Honestly, I get that, and that's like the best compliments I ever get is on that one thing I came up with like 6 years ago, and I don't even know ASAP Rocky's music all that well. Yeah, find me there. Or I'm going to be doing shows. Let's see, I'm on tour. I opened for my buddy Charlie Barons, and we've got a show in LA November 2nd, and then the 15th we are in Phoenix, and then we'll be right after that in Florida, and then I'll do a show in Chicago, and then we're in New York at the Bell House in Brooklyn.
Nice.
Yeah, I get
stuff.
to ride his coattails. That's fantastic.
It's always nice to have some coattails to ride on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram, jlightcomedy.com for show dates. I'll be on the road in November, so keep your eyes peeled for those up on the website. And if you like the show, tell a friend, subscribe, join the Facebook group. And yeah, that's about it. Andy, thanks for coming on, dude.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.
This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.